Talmud asks the question, where do we know Haman from the Torah? The arch enemy of the Jews. This terrible, terrible person, Haman. Where do we find a reference to him, to his name in the Torah? And what the Talmud means to ask is, Haman was a very strange individual. Haman was a person, the Megillah describes him like this. He had everything you could possibly want physically, materially. He was a very, very wealthy man. Not just wealthy, he was the second most important, powerful person in the world. The only person above him was Achashverosh, was the king. But Haman was the second in command. Haman was the only person who had the king's ear. Whatever he willed, whatever he wanted, happened. He told the king whatever he wanted. He had the ear of the king. He made a rule that wherever he goes with his horse, every single person has to bow down. Jew, non-Jew, everybody just bow down, prostrated themselves in front of this guy. He had health, he had happiness, he had children. We know that he had 10 sons because they all hung on a tree. We know he had a couple of daughters as well. We know that he loved his wife. We know he had admirers. We know he had everything. What could a man wish for? And he comes home one day and his wife asks him, how was your day? And here's what he says. He says to his wife, V'chol zeh, everything I have is worth nothing to me. You see, everything I own, all my yachts and all my boats and all my cars and all my wealth and all my stocks, everything I have is worth nothing. Why? Because there's one Jew by the name of Mordechai who refuses to bow down to me. Who says such a thing? What kind of craziness is this? This guy's crazy. He's Meshuggah. He has everything. The whole world bows down to him. Every single Jew in the world, every single non-Jew in the world bows down to him. There's one person, one Jew in the entire universe that refuses to bow down to him, and he says, my life is worth nothing. Whatever I have is worth nothing because there's one Jew. Who says that? How does it make sense? Say that, you're missing one thing. That makes sense. You're missing one thing. One Jew, Nebuch, doesn't want to bow down to you. Okay, fine. But to say that nothing is worth anything, that's crazy. So the Gemara, the Talmud asks the question, where do we know this craziness from? Where does it say the name Haman? And the Talmud answers, there's a verse in Bereshit, in the beginning, where it describes the story of Adam and Eve. The Torah says, Hamin ha'etz asher tziviticha lechol mimenu achalta. Adam, did you eat from the tree that I commanded you not to? The words Hamin ha'etz, did you eat from the tree, is in Hebrew there's no vowels, so in the Torah there's no vowels. So hey, mem nun, Haman spells out the same words. Why? Because Adam suffered from the same syndrome. What does that mean? Adam was a person who was created by God. He was told by God, you can do what you want, when you want, how you want, no restrictions, no rules. Anything you want is good, except for one thing. There's one tree in the Garden of Eden, amongst the thousands of trees that exist there, one tree that I don't want you to touch. One tree. Adam sinned within 3 hours of his being, of his creation. He didn't even have time to explore the trees that he was allowed to explore. He had already sinned. Says the Torah, Haman came from Adam. Doesn't make sense. Go explore the trees you have. Go enjoy the life that you are given. Why do you want what is forbidden to you? That's Haman. You see, Haman was ego on steroids. He was a person who just was so selfish and was so full of himself that he couldn't see anybody beyond himself. And that's what the Talmud wants to tell us. This is the source of evil, Haman. Haman is Amalek. You see, in Kedusha, in holiness, it's about how much can I give, not how much can I take. The Haman syndrome is about how much can I take. I want. And if I don't have one thing, my life is worth nothing. Kedusha in holiness, it's how much can I give. By the way, love is this exact idea. A person wants to fall in love. He wants to fall in love. I want love. But you don't realize love is an oxymoron. The more you give, the more you fall in love. You want to fall in love with a woman? You give to her. Give to her, give to her, give to her. The more you will give, the more you fall in love. It's like the story of the waiter who a customer comes into the fanciest restaurant, and the customer says, "I love fish, give me fish." So the waiter goes to the fancy fish tank, pulls out a fancy fish, puts it into a pot, boils it, peppers it, salts it, and then half an hour later puts it onto the person's plate, and the guy takes his fork and knife, and he says, I love fish. And the fish thinks to himself, you love me? Really? You love fish? The only person you love is yourself, is your palate. You love the taste that fish provides in your palate. But you don't love me. If you loved me, you would buy me. You would feed me. You would take care of my needs. When a man says to a woman, I love you, very often he doesn't say, he doesn't think I love you. I love me. I love what you provide to me. You provide to me your companionship, your looks, your money, whatever it is you provide to me. I'm not lonely, but you don't love me. If you loved me, you would do what I want. You would give me what I want. And this is a secret to love, to a successful marriage. The more you give, the more you love. By the way, charity is the same thing. The Torah says the secret to making money is to give charity. You give 10%, you give $10, you make $100. You give $1,000, you make $10,000. People think, oh, if I make $10,000 and I give $1,000 away, I lose $1,000. No, you don't lose. Whatever you give, you make 10 times more. That's what God promises you in Torah. Love is the same thing. And this is what Haman is teaching us not to do. Not to make the mistake of being full of yourself, so full of yourself that you cannot see any other person. May we all have a beautiful Purim, a Chag Sameach. May we all enjoy the power of the day of Purim, and where we all give and give and give, because this is a secret to happiness.